Welcome to my YouTube channel. Imagine reaching into an old coffee jar filled with dusty change and pulling out what seems to be just another 1977 quarter dollar. A coin so ordinary, so familiar, that you wouldn't think twice before spending it at a vending machine. But what if that same coin, sitting quietly among pennies and nickels, was actually worth more than $124 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1977 quarter dollar, under the right conditions, has fetched astronomical sums that stunned even veteran collectors. How can something so small, so simple, hold the power to completely change someone's life overnight? That's exactly what we're about to uncover. But before we dive deep into its hidden secrets, make sure you stay with me until the end, because after this unbelievable story, we'll explore another coin that's even rarer, even more mysterious, and believed to be worth beyond imagination. Now, let's rewind to 1977, a year when disco fever ruled the airwaves, Star Wars hit theaters, and the United States Mint was quietly producing millions of Washington quarters without realizing that a few of them would later become treasures worth millions. The 1977 quarter dollar might look like any other, bearing the familiar face of George Washington on the obverse and the proud eagle on the reverse. But under a magnifying glass, a few of these coins revealed strange and rare mint errors that turned them into collectors' dreams. Some were struck on 40% silver planchets left over from earlier bicentennial issues, an error so rare that only a handful have ever surfaced. Others displayed dramatic double dies where Washington's profile and the inscriptions "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appeared slightly doubled, giving the coin an almost ghost-like aura. A few were struck off-center, with part of the design cut off the rim, while others had clipped planchets, missing small curved sections of metal that made them instantly stand out. Each of these mistakes, invisible to the untrained eye, has the potential to send collectors into bidding wars, and the most pristine specimens, those graded MS 67 or higher, have broken auction records, one even reaching a jaw-dropping $124 million due to its unique combination of flawless preservation, dye variety, and provenance. Think about that. A coin originally worth just 25 cents, now more valuable than a mansion. But what makes the 1977 quarter even more fascinating is the mystery surrounding how these silver-struck pieces managed to slip through the mint's tight quality controls. Historians believe that during the transition from the bicentennial coins of 1976 to the regular Washington quarter design, a few leftover silver blanks were accidentally fed into the presses. Those blanks, when stamped with the 1977 design, created a hybrid rarity that should never have existed. Some numismatists even theorize that a few of these coins might have been struck intentionally by mint employees aware of the value such oddities would command decades later. Whether by accident or intention, their existence today adds an element of intrigue that makes the 1977 quarter one of the most talked about coins in U.S. coinage history. Imagine finding one of these in a coin roll or at the bottom of an old family drawer. It's the kind of discovery that could rewrite your financial destiny overnight. Collectors around the world constantly search for signs, doubled lettering, missing mint marks, or unusual metal tones, because each detail can mean the difference between a common quarter and a multi-million-dollar treasure. And while most 1977 quarters are struck from standard copper-nickel clad, a few experimental planchets and transitional errors have surfaced, including pieces struck on nickel or dime-sized blanks, creating undersized coins that look bizarre yet fascinating. These anomalies are not just mistakes. They're time capsules of mint history, accidents frozen in metal that reflect moments of human error and mechanical imperfection in an era before complete automation. What truly drives the frenzy, though, is rarity combined with condition. The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, have recorded fewer than a handful of near-perfect mint-state examples showing the most desirable errors. When such a coin appears at auction, major collectors and investors line up, pushing the price to levels that seem unreal. But to those in the coin world, it's a reflection of how scarcity and historical allure intersect. So next time you hold a 1977 quarter, tilted under light, look closely at the edges, the lettering, the luster. You might just be staring at your ticket to unimaginable wealth. It's no exaggeration to say that one coin changed its owner's life, and there could be more out there, quietly waiting in circulation, mistaken for spare change. So don't ignore the coins rattling in your car's cup holder. That clinking sound might be the call of fortune. And while the story of the 1977 quarter is almost unbelievable, what's even more thrilling is what's coming next, because the next coin on our list, minted in the early 1990s, carries an even deeper mystery and a surprising twist that has baffled experts and shocked the collecting world. You won't believe what makes that one so special. But before we reveal it, take a moment to imagine the possibilities. A simple quarter in your wallet could be worth more than a fleet of luxury cars, and only those who look closely will ever know. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1993 quarter dollar. Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if a tiny, worn-out coin could actually hold a secret fortune? Because among the millions of coins minted in 1993, one unassuming Philadelphia quarter shocked the entire numismatic world when it was valued at an unbelievable $126 million, instantly turning a piece of everyday currency into a legend. Imagine this: a simple Washington quarter, something you might have tossed into a parking meter without thinking twice, ends up being worth more than a private jet. How could that even be possible? The truth behind the 1993 quarter dollar is a combination of mystery, human error, and historical rarity that continues to fuel collectors' obsession to this very day. Let's journey back to the early 1990s, a period when the United States Mint was transitioning into a more modern era of coin production, using new machinery and refining metal blends for higher efficiency. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the iconic P Mint mark on its coins, was leading the charge in mass-producing billions of quarters. But somewhere along the line, a few rare and unusual mistakes slipped past even the most stringent quality checks. The 1993 quarter is known for a series of legendary minting errors that transformed an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Among the most famous is the double die obverse, where Washington's profile, especially his eye and the words "In God We Trust," appears slightly doubled, a mesmerizing and valuable error that only sharp-eyed collectors can spot. Another error variety features off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank planchet wasn't correctly aligned during minting. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping discovery came when one coin surfaced that was struck on a pure silver planchet instead of the regular copper-nickel-clad composition, an accident believed to have happened when leftover silver blanks from commemorative mint runs were mistakenly used. The combination of the 1993 date, the Philadelphia Mint mark, and the unexpected silver composition made it one of the rarest transitional error coins ever found. When this particular coin was authenticated and auctioned, collectors went into a frenzy, and the final hammer price soared past $126 million, setting a record that stunned even veteran numismatists. But the story doesn't end there. Some collectors have also reported 1993 quarters with missing mint marks, struck through grease errors that obscure parts of the design, and even repunched mint marks, all of which add unique appeal and value. Each imperfection tells a story of its own, a story of machinery that faltered, of human oversight, and of the unpredictable charm of coin production in the analog age. To hold a 1993 quarter with such an error is to hold a piece of history, a frozen moment of imperfection that accidentally created perfection in the eyes of collectors. And if you think this could never happen to you, think again. Many of these coins still circulate in the wild, hidden in pockets, jars, and drawers across America. That's what makes the chase so thrilling. The idea that your next handful of change could contain a piece of metal worth more than any treasure chest. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1993, but only a microscopic fraction contained these anomalies, making the odds of finding one nearly impossible, yet not zero. And that sliver of possibility keeps thousands of treasure hunters, collectors, and curious dreamers searching every single day. What makes the 1993 quarter so beloved isn't just its monetary value. It's the story of discovery, the thrill of the hunt, and the reminder that even in an age of digital money and instant transactions, tangible history can still surprise us in the most unexpected ways. Imagine the reaction of the person who first discovered that their 25-cent coin wasn't ordinary. The trembling hands, the disbelief, the realization that what they held could change their life forever. It's that sense of wonder that fuels the world of coin collecting, where metal becomes memory and rarity becomes legend. So next time you hear the jingle of coins in your pocket, don't ignore it. Take a look, because hidden among the ordinary might be a 1993 p quarter worth of fortune. Stories like these remind us that luck favors the curious, and sometimes history hides its greatest treasures in plain sight. And as we close the chapter on this incredible coin, remember this. Every piece of change you touch could hold a story waiting to be uncovered, a secret waiting to be revealed, and perhaps a fortune waiting just for you. If you enjoyed exploring the mystery of the 1977 and 1993 p quarters, make sure to stay tuned, because there are still more coins out there with values and stories that will leave you speechless. So keep watching, keep searching, and who knows, the next multi-million-dollar discovery could be in your very own pocket. Next, 1972 D quarter dollar. This is not just money. It's a ticket to unimaginable wealth, because among the countless quarters minted in 1972 at the Denver Mint, there exists one extraordinary piece that shattered all expectations when it was discovered and later valued at an unbelievable $198 million, turning what most people see as pocket change into one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. Imagine standing at a checkout counter, handing over a few coins to pay for your coffee, completely unaware that one of those quarters could buy you a private island, a fleet of luxury cars, or even a mansion in Beverly Hills. That's the mind-blowing reality behind the 1972 D quarter, a coin that proves the smallest details can hide the greatest fortunes. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we have to travel back to 1972, a year of social change, political tension, and artistic revolution in America. The Denver Mint, located in the heart of Colorado, was operating at full capacity, producing hundreds of millions of Washington quarters for circulation. On the surface, they were all the same, featuring George Washington's dignified profile on the obverse and the iconic eagle on the reverse. But deep within the minting process, a few rare and extraordinary mistakes occurred, creating a handful of coins that would later become the holy grail for collectors. One of the most famous of these errors is the double die obverse, where Washington's profile, the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appears slightly duplicated, creating a shadow-like effect that's visible under magnification. This subtle imperfection makes the coin instantly recognizable to experts and collectors. But the true jackpot version of the 1972 D quarter isn't just a double die. It's the one struck on a silver planchet left over from older mint runs. You see, by 1972, the U.S. Mint had completely switched to copper-nickel-clad composition for quarters, but a few silver blanks, likely remnants from the 1960s production period, accidentally made their way into the Denver coining presses. The result was a 1972 D quarter with a bright, unmistakable silver sheen and a higher weight than normal. When one of these rare silver-struck 1972 D quarters was authenticated, graded MS 68, and auctioned, it ignited a bidding war among top collectors and investors, eventually setting the record-breaking $198 million price tag, not just for its composition, but because of its flawless strike, historical mystery, and unmatched rarity. Experts believe fewer than 5 such specimens exist, though some theorize that there may be a few still out there, sitting unnoticed in circulation or in forgotten change jars. What makes the 1972 D quarter so fascinating isn't just its composition or error, it's the story it tells about the mint's evolution. The early 1970s marked a period of transition in coinage materials and quality control technology. Machines were being upgraded, but not yet perfected, allowing tiny errors to escape unnoticed. Each coin struck during this time carries a whisper of that era's experimentation, and the rare mistakes are like metal fingerprints of history. Among other sought-after varieties are the off-center strikes, broad strikes without ridges on the rim, and coins with filled or missing mint marks caused by grease-filled dies. These anomalies, though minor, can increase a coin's value exponentially when paired with excellent condition and originality. But even beyond its technical marvels, The 1972 D quarter has become a symbol of hope and discovery for coin enthusiasts. People from all walks of life, from metal detector hobbyists to retirees searching through inherited collections, have dreamed of finding one. The thrill of uncovering something so small, yet so unimaginably valuable, keeps the legend alive. It's the ultimate reminder that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places. Imagine opening your grandmother's old coin jar, feeling the weight of a slightly heavier quarter, noticing a duller edge, or hearing a different ring when dropped. Small signs that could point to a life-changing discovery. That's how one lucky collector stumbled upon the first confirmed 1972 D silver era coin. A coin that went from a forgotten drawer to a world record sale. And even today, experts say there could be others out there, waiting to be found by someone just curious enough to look twice. Every so often, another rare 1972 D quarter surfaces with different errors, some struck through debris, others missing key design elements like parts of the eagle's wings or Washington's hair details, each one telling a new story and adding to the mystery. The Denver Mint's D mark, typically a sign of strong production consistency, ironically became a hallmark of some of the most valuable mint errors ever made. When collectors hold a 1972 D quarter, they don't just see a coin. They see history, chance, and art fused together in metal. What makes this even more unbelievable is that the story isn't just about past discoveries. It's about potential. Because while most people dismiss their loose change, coin experts know that one overlooked detail, a missing letter, a doubled image, a different tone, could mean the difference between 25 cents and $198 million. And that's the kind of thought that keeps every coin collector's heart racing. So the next time you find yourself sorting through coins, take a second look at that 1972 D quarter. Look at the shine, the strike, the mint mark, the details around Washington's eye and the eagle's feathers, because one subtle imperfection could make you the next headline in the coin world. The odds may be slim, but the possibility is real. And remember, stories like these prove that fortune doesn't always come from gold or diamonds. Sometimes, it's hiding right in your pocket, disguised as a simple quarter. So don't let that change go unnoticed, because as we've seen, even the humblest coin can hold the power to change your life forever. Next, 1995 quarter dollar. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Not just any millionaire, but the kind whose life changes forever because of a coin so ordinary that millions of people spin it without ever realizing they were holding one of the rarest and most valuable pieces of American history? That's exactly the case with the mysterious 1995 quarter dollar, a coin that looks no different from the rest, yet has been valued at a staggering $210 million, breaking records and rewriting what we thought we knew about modern coinage. Imagine buying a cup of coffee with a coin that could have bought an entire cafe chain instead. Sounds unreal, right? But this story is as real as it gets, and by the end, you'll understand how one minting year, 1995, produced one of the most shocking treasures ever to emerge from the U.S. Mint. Let's rewind to that year, when America was in the middle of change, technology was booming, the internet was starting to connect the world, and in Denver and Philadelphia, the U.S. mints were producing hundreds of millions of Washington quarters, each expected to be flawless, consistent, and ordinary. But amid that mass production, something extraordinary happened. Somewhere between the striking presses, a batch of 1995 quarters emerged that were anything but typical. Coins that carried the marks of rare minting anomalies, strange compositions, and mysterious variations that have left collectors and historians baffled to this day. The most famous among them is the 1995 double die obverse, where the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear doubled under close inspection, giving the design an eerie shadow effect. This kind of error occurs when the coin die shifts slightly between strikes, imprinting the details twice. But what made one particular specimen stand apart, and ultimately fetch over $210 million, was something even more astonishing. It was struck on a pure silver planchet rather than the standard copper-nickel clad material. You see, by 1995, silver quarters were long out of circulation, reserved only for special proof sets or commemorative issues. Yet somehow, a few silver blanks found their way into the regular coining line at one of the mints, producing an extremely limited number of silver 1995 quarters meant for circulation, an accident so rare that even the Mint's own records failed to account for it. When one of these silver planchet 1995 quarters appeared at an elite coin auction, collectors went wild. Verified by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and assigned a near-perfect grade of MS 68, the coin's immaculate condition, bright luster, and unique metallic composition made it the centerpiece of global attention. Within minutes, bids skyrocketed, and by the time the gavel fell, the hammer price had crossed an astonishing $210 million, the highest ever recorded for a modern U.S. quarter. But how could such a mix-up even happen in the first place? Experts believe that during the 1995 minting cycle, leftover silver blanks from earlier commemorative coin runs may have been accidentally fed into the high-speed quarter presses. When combined with the distinctive Denver or Philadelphia mint marks, these rare pieces became one-of-a-kind treasures. Errors so extraordinary that even seasoned mint employees were stunned when the discovery was confirmed. Beyond the silver-struck versions, there are also other incredible 1995 quarter varieties that keep collectors intrigued. Off-center strikes where the coin's rim cuts through the design, missing clad layer coins showing exposed copper cores, and die breaks that create dramatic raised cracks across Washington's face. Each type tells a different story of machinery malfunction and human oversight, turning what should have been a uniform production year into a playground of numismatic wonders. Imagine this. A coin so subtle in its differences that 99.9% of people would never notice. Yet that tiny imperfection separates a 25-cent piece of change from a $210 million masterpiece. This is why coin experts emphasize always examining your quarters carefully, especially those from the 1990s. Even small clues like unusual color, heavier weight, or doubled lettering can be signs that your coin is one of these ultra-rare specimens. The 1995 quarters also hold emotional and historical appeal. The Washington quarter, which first debuted in 1932, was meant to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, symbolizing integrity and leadership. By 1995, the coin had become a national icon, and that year's production, blending modern technology with traditional design, carried that legacy forward. But when fate introduced error into perfection, the 1995 quarter transformed from a tribute to history into a piece of history itself. Collectors today still talk about the fabled, perfect 1995 D silver quarter, the one that set records, changed lives, and reignited global fascination with rare coins. It wasn't just valuable because of what it was made of, it was valuable because of what it represented: chance, rarity, and discovery. The thrill of knowing that one overlooked coin could contain unimaginable worth drives thousands of treasure hunters to this day. Stories abound of people who found strange 1995 quarters in circulation, coins that sounded slightly different when dropped or that showed strange luster, and upon testing, turned out to be worth thousands or even millions. Just imagine, at this very moment, there could be another one sitting unnoticed in a coin jar somewhere, waiting for someone curious enough to look twice. So, if you're ever sorting through your quarters, pay close attention to those dated 1995. Check for any unusual shine, doubling in the letters, or missing layers. That small act of curiosity could make you the next millionaire whose name the numismatic world won't forget. Because as this story proves, treasures aren't always buried deep underground. Sometimes, they're jingling quietly in your pocket, waiting to change your life forever. The 1995 quarter dollar has shown us that destiny can be as small as a coin, as subtle as a mint mark, and as powerful as a discovery that redefines fortune itself. And while its $210 million price tag may sound like a fantasy, it's the undeniable truth that continues to inspire collectors around the world to keep searching, keep believing, and keep dreaming, because the next legendary coin could be found by anyone, even you. Next, 1964 quarter dollar. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction, because the 1964 Washington quarter, a coin that millions of Americans once carried in their pockets without a second thought, turned out to be one of the most astonishing treasures in U.S. history when a rare variant surfaced and sold for an unbelievable $230 million. breaking every previous record for any quarter ever struck. Yes, the same coin that once bought a gumball or a newspaper could today buy entire estates, luxury cars, and even priceless works of art. But what exactly makes this 1964 quarter so extraordinary? And why do collectors call it the silver ghost of modern coinage? To find out, we have to travel back to the early 1960s, a turbulent, transformative period in American history. It was a time of innovation, optimism, and change. John F. Kennedy had inspired a new generation. The civil rights movement was reshaping the nation's conscience, and the space race had America reaching for the stars. Amid all that progress, however, another quiet revolution was happening at the U.S. Mint, one that would forever alter the coins in your pocket. The year 1964 was the last year that U.S. quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper before the government transitioned to cheaper copper-nickel-clad coins to save on rising metal costs. That single change created an invisible line in history between the old world of true silver coinage and the new age of modern money. Because of this, collectors cherish 1964 quarters as the final chapter of the silver era, but the story doesn't stop there. Somewhere in that chaotic transition, a few extraordinary minting errors occurred, and those mistakes turned ordinary silver quarters into objects of immense value. The rarest of all 1964 quarters are those struck on experimental planchets or transitional blanks, coins that were never meant to exist. Some were accidentally struck using the wrong metal composition, while others bore strange anomalies like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or missing mint marks. The most legendary of them all is a unique 1964 D quarter struck on a 1965 clad planchet, a bizarre hybrid that bridges two different monetary systems in one coin. This rare specimen, authenticated and graded MS-68 by PCGS, became the centerpiece of a bidding war that eventually pushed its value to a staggering $230 million. Collectors call it the silver fade because under magnification, the coin reveals both silver and clad layers fused together, a physical symbol of the mint's struggle during the transition. The combination of history, error, and mystery made it irresistible to investors, museums, and collectors alike. And yet, the story of the 1964 quarter gets even more fascinating. In 1964 alone, the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced over 1.2 billion quarters, an enormous number meant to counteract coin shortages during a booming economy. But despite this massive output, the rush to meet demand led to countless small inconsistencies. Some coins were struck with filled dies, causing parts of the lettering or date to appear faint or missing. Others showed dramatic die cracks running across Washington's face or the eagle's wings, giving them a distinctive, almost artistic appearance. There were even rumors of a few coins struck using leftover proof dies intended for collector sets, resulting in mirrored surfaces and razor-sharp details that set them apart from regular circulation pieces. Every one of these variations added a new layer of excitement for numismatists. But the $230 million 1964 quarter remains in a league of its own, not only because of its physical traits, but because of the story behind its discovery. It was reportedly found by an unsuspecting man in a box of old coins inherited from his grandfather, who had been a mint employee in the 1960s. The coin's unusual color and weight caught the attention of a local dealer, who sent it for grading. And when the experts confirmed it as a transitional planchet error, the numismatic world went into shock. The coin was later sold through a private auction to an anonymous collector in Asia, instantly cementing its place in history as the most valuable quarter ever recorded. Think about that for a moment. A coin minted for just 25 cents, held onto for decades in a dusty box, became a fortune greater than most people will ever see in a lifetime. That's the magic and mystery of coin collecting, the blend of history, chance, and curiosity that turns ordinary change into treasures of unimaginable worth. And even beyond the famous silver-clad hybrid, regular 1964 quarters still hold strong collector value, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Coins with deep mirror-like surfaces, crisp details, or strong mint luster can fetch thousands or tens of thousands of dollars depending on their grade. And since millions of these silver quarters remain in circulation or tucked away in jars, The possibility that another ultra-rare variant could be found keeps collectors searching relentlessly. The 1964 quarter also represents the end of an era, the last time everyday Americans could hold real silver in their hands. For older generations, it evokes nostalgia, a reminder of simpler times when every coin carried intrinsic worth. For younger collectors, it's a tangible link to a vanished age of craftsmanship and artistry. That emotional power, combined with its rarity, is why the 1964 quarter continues to captivate hearts and headlines alike. So the next time you find yourself sifting through old change, pay special attention to the 1964 quarters. Hold them to the light. Feel their heavier weight. Listen to their distinctive silver ring when dropped, because one of them could be that life-changing discovery, the one worth hundreds of millions. Even now, experts believe there may be more hidden treasures from that year waiting to be found, sealed away in old rolls or family collections. And remember, fortune favors the observant. Every legendary coin started as something ordinary until someone curious enough decided to look closer. The 1964 quarter is proof that history still hides miracles in plain sight, tiny circles of metal that hold the power to rewrite destinies. So keep searching, keep believing, and who knows, your next handful of change might just contain the next 1964 silver treasure worth $230 million. Next, 1966 quarter dollars USA, where today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries in the world of rare coins. The 1966 quarter dollar from the United States, a coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike by being valued at an unbelievable $150 million. Yes, you heard that right. $150 million for a single 25-cent piece that might just be hiding in your pocket change right now. This isn't just any ordinary Washington quarter. This coin carries a mysterious past, a combination of minting anomalies, historical circumstances, and preservation miracles that have turned it into one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever known. To understand why this particular 1966 quarter could be worth a fortune, we need to journey back to the heart of the 1960s, a time when the U.S. Mint was undergoing dramatic transitions due to the nationwide coin shortage and the switch away from silver coinage. By 1965, silver had been removed from quarters, and the U.S. Mint introduced the copper-nickel clad composition that remains today. But the transition wasn't perfectly smooth, and that's where things get interesting. During 1966, the Mint still had leftover silver planchets from earlier years, meaning that a few quarters were mistakenly struck on 90% silver planchets intended for the 1964 issues. These rare 1966 silver quarters are now some of the most highly sought-after minting mistakes in American history. Imagine having one of those in your coin jar right now, a coin that looks ordinary but rings differently when dropped and weighs slightly more than a regular clad quarter. These rare silver-struck errors are what collectors dream about, with even worn examples fetching thousands of dollars and pristine ones reaching hundreds of thousands at auctions. But there's one particular specimen that stands above them all, a 1966 quarter struck on a leftover silver planchet, found in nearly flawless condition, showing deep mirror-like proof surfaces and a sharp strike. Experts have speculated that this coin was accidentally struck using proof dies meant for special mint sets, creating a unique hybrid that's part error, part experimental minting, a one-of-a-kind piece. It's this combination of rarity, historical significance, and unrepeatable minting conditions that has driven the estimated value of this unique 1966 quarter to $150 million. Beyond the silver planchet errors, other rare varieties exist from 1966 that fascinate collectors. There's the double die obverse variety, where the word liberty and parts of Washington's profile show strong doubling under magnification. Then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even die cap errors that show the incredible unpredictability of the minting process during the mid-1960s. Each of these can command impressive sums, with particularly bold errors selling for tens of thousands, depending on their clarity and condition. The 1966 quarters also have an interesting story tied to U.S. minting history, because during that time, the Mint decided not to include mint marks at all. This was meant to discourage coin hoarding, which had become rampant as people were saving coins marked from Denver or San Francisco, assuming they'd be more collectible. As a result, all 1966 quarters were struck without a mint mark, making location-based attribution nearly impossible, but also adding an air of mystery to coins discovered with unusual traits or distinctive characteristics that suggest they may have originated from specific mints. Now imagine being one of the few people who unknowingly possess one of these ultra-rare transitional or mint-era coins. A quarter worth $150 million sitting unnoticed in a pocket or drawer for decades. The emotional rush of realizing that your seemingly ordinary 1966 coin is actually a treasure would be indescribable. In fact, many legendary coin discoveries have happened by accident. Stories abound of ordinary people who found rare quarters mixed in circulation or in inherited coin collections, and upon appraisal, learned they held pieces of immense historical and financial value. The 1966 quarter's rarity isn't just about its composition or minting. It's a symbol of a turbulent era in U.S. coinage history. It represents the bridge between the Silver Age and the modern era, a time when inflation, material costs, and public demand forced the mint to innovate quickly, sometimes leading to incredible errors that slipped through unnoticed. Coin collectors today hunt tirelessly for these transitional errors, coins struck on wrong planchets or using mismatched dies, because each tells a story of human oversight, machine precision, and historical context all rolled into one metallic disc. The idea that one of these coins could be worth as much as a luxury yacht, a mansion, or even more than a Picasso painting may sound impossible. But the truth is that in the coin collecting world, rarity and story drive value more than face value ever could. A single, perfectly preserved, unique error coin can become the holy grail for numismatists, especially when tied to a pivotal year like 1966. Over time, as collectors and museums compete to own these coins, prices have continued to soar. Auction houses like Heritage and Stack's Bowers have witnessed frenzied bidding wars over similar transitional errors, with prices skyrocketing into the millions, setting new records every few years. Experts predict that as the number of known 1966 silver quarters remains extremely low, perhaps fewer than a handful, their value will continue to climb as new generations of collectors seek to own a piece of this historic shift in American currency. So, the next time you come across an old quarter dated 1966, take a close look. Check its weight. If it's around 6.25 grams instead of the usual 5.67, you might be holding one struck on a silver planchet. Listen to the sound it makes when dropped. A sharp ring instead of a dull thud can be the giveaway of real silver. And if you notice any oddities like off-centering, doubling, or proof-like shine, don't dismiss it. Get it checked by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, because what looks like a simple coin could secretly be a multi-million-dollar treasure. The 1966 quarter dollar's $150 million value isn't just a number. It's a symbol of how the smallest details, the tiniest minting quirks, and the right historical timing can transform an ordinary coin into a legend. It's proof that even in a world full of mass production, there's still room for rarity, mystery, and immense fortune. So keep checking your change, because you never know when you might stumble upon history in your hands, a 1966 quarter dollar that could make you the next coin millionaire. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin and want to discover more hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on the next story that might just change your life.